Hi everybody, my name is Chris and I'm going to show you a few of the websites that can be used to book your loved ones for the vaccine in New York State and then in New York City. I'll start with the state and then get more specific to New York City. These websites frequently say that no appointments are available, but there is a way for each of them where you can be in a waiting position for when other people cancel their appointments. That is how volunteers have been able to book people for near-term appointments. And armed with this information, you can book for them. There are other more technical tricks to how you can book faster, book larger number of appointments, organize your screen, auto-refresh, all sorts of technology that can make it easier. But with these simple tips that I'm going to give you, you will be able to book your loved ones with some patience and a little bit of practice. So I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to start here with the New York State site, which you perhaps have seen. amieligible.covid19vaccine.health.ny.gov. That's the main site for New York State. And as you can see here at this time, on Thursday, March 4th, a few minutes before 6, we have appointments available in Troy and SUNY Potsdam, but not in many other places, including the Javits Center, which is probably the closest state location to the sample patient that I prepared for today. Today we're going to be looking for appointments for Vaccine Hunter. She is 71 and lives in the Empire State Building. She also happens to be a grocer. So we'll be using her as our example for today. I'm going to come here on this New York State site. Now, I have done this with a number of people, quite a number of people, by telephone. I send them these links and I ask them to tell me what they see and to talk to me as they do what they do so I can follow along with them rather than the other way around, and I point things out as we go. I'm going to try to recreate that experience for you here the best that I can. So we're going to hit Get Started. Now, I do like to have the person that I'm booking for on a little note like this. It's easiest for me to be able to copy and paste accurately and fairly quickly. Oh no, where'd it go? Sorry. So that is her date of birth, and for here I also need her zip code. So as you can see, we indicate Vaccine is a female, and she lives in New York, but she is retired, let's say. So no, she's a grocer. She does work here. But as you can see, these are two different ways to be eligible. You could work in New York but live in Connecticut or New Jersey, and it would still work out. And it'll ask about your occupation below. But for her, she does both live and work in the state of New York. This is her zip code. We will continue down. Now for her, because she is over the age of 65, it's not asking us for more information, and I could hit just I consent and go. For the sake of this demonstration, if we changed this to say 1970, vaccine is now under 65. Is she? Why is it not giving me the... Okay. So she does not work in the state of New York. You're going to get, it's going to ask, all right, do you have a health problem? And if she says yes, this is what it looks like. If she says no, because we're going to go on her occupation as a grocer, this version of vaccine who's under 65, says, are you a worker? It's going to take through all the different occupations. This is the one for you. And you'll have a chance to read these more slowly. I'm not going to read everything now, but this is for people who work in nursing homes. Are you a first responder? Various school district. It's down a little ways. It's going to... Oh, I answered no. I should have said yes. Are you a public-facing grocery store worker? And vaccine is. So that is one way, and then we could continue. So you've now seen the various ways that this form will pop up, and you just take your time and go through it. You won't have to repeat this with the tricks. With the method that I'm going to show you, you won't have to repeat this. So I'm going to go back to 1950, since that is the sample date that I chose. Okay, so now you just see it's it recognizes that she's over 65. It isn't asking us the rest of the questions. And I'm going to hit submit. Thank you for providing your information. I'm going to hit locate providers. Now, closest to her home in the Empire State Building is the Javits Center, where as you can see, there are not currently any appointments. I want you to see, before I go into this, I want you to see what an appointment looks like. So I'm going to scroll until I see someplace where appointments are currently available, just so you can see how they look on the screen. Appointments are available here in Syracuse. So I'm going to hit schedule your vaccine appointment, and this is what they will display as on the screen. You have a date here, and then you have a button below, select a visit time. When you click on select a visit time, you will be presented with anywhere from 0 to quite a few different choices on that date, each with a little bubble to the right that you can choose. That's how you select your bubble. When we see cancellation appointments for the Javits Center, the task will be to click on one of these with the bubble next to it, and then you hit next. Once you get to this screen where you're putting in information, the time pressure is off. But the seeing the appointment and clicking the bubble and clicking next is a muscle memory thing that you'll do faster every time you see one until you do get one. You will get one. So I'm going to go back to the Javits Center and show you what you'll see when you go to the same thing. No appointments are available. So instead of clicking on this and seeing an appointment right away, most likely I'm going to see no appointments are available again. So here I am at the Javits Center. I'm hitting schedule your vaccine appointment. And as you can see, I get a purple on white page that says no appointments available. Now on my keyboard, I'm going to use my left hand to hit Command and R. And you see that little flash? That is the page refreshing. Some people have noticed a pattern, so one way to make this even more effective is to note the time. Okay, so here's one. I didn't even look at what the date was. I scrolled too fast, but that's okay. Okay, it was March 20th. All of these appointments can be canceled. Some of the different sites I'm going to show you can also be changed. This one can be canceled quite easily, and this site will permit you to book more than one appointment. And as long as you are very careful to make sure to cancel any appointment you're not using so someone else can have it, it's perfectly acceptable to book a couple of options. So don't hesitate when you see these things to move. Now I did make a rookie mistake in that I clicked on the first one I saw. Do not click on the first one you see. Everyone else is clicking on the first one you saw as well. But this is what happened. I got this, but as you can see, there are no little bubbles with times in between. If I like this date, I can sit here and click next for a while. Here it says a time slot must be selected. And if any open on that date, they will appear up here. Now, I hope I'm getting all the technicals of this correct. I'm not the most advanced booker. I've met, in the course of volunteering to assist other people, some truly impressive, speedy, smart, experienced people booking these appointments. I'm actually fairly not tech savvy. I'm fairly slow. I don't have a Facebook page. I'm on Twitter, KBrew ESQ on Twitter, but that's about it. And if I can do this, anyone can with some persistence. So I'm going to close this, just go back and get back this screen, and I want to show you a pattern that has been pointed out to me, if you wish. You don't have to know this, but if you wish, and I'll put it down in the notes below the YouTube video, along with the links to all these sites. Others have noted that these appointments show up at 6-minute intervals, at these intervals. And the time is now 5:55, so there'll be another one in a moment at 5:56 in theory. So I'm going to set this down into the side, and here I am. And a note that I should point out while we're sitting here and waiting for 5:56 to roll around, that was the time, right? 5:56, it's a 6-minute increment. They do sometimes pop up even more frequently than that, but I'm in an incognito browser here. I find that it's a little faster Someone more tech aware than me told me that maybe because these sites have some cookies involved, especially since there's health information being exchanged here, and the Incognito browser allows me to do it a little faster. It doesn't necessarily affect the functionality except on one of the websites I'm going to show you later, and then I'll show you how it differs in incognito versus not. But I am in incognito mode because that is how I've found most success. Okay, it's 5:56, and I start at 5:56. It's not always right at the change of the time. There you go. Here is March 16th. So I'm going to hit, I'm not going to the first one. I'm not doing that rookie mistake again. I'm going to the second one. Look at that. Now I'm clicking that and I'm hitting next. I didn't get it in time. It says the time slot you've selected. And this was April 7th. I didn't even look at the date. I just went. It's not a fantastic date. It's not a terrible date. But it's something. And if you're booking for a loved one, I have found for myself, it's effective to take something, get it down on the books, that, you know, if we got that April 7th for our loved one, it's available to them, and then you can cancel it as you improve that appointment. Just make sure you cancel everything that you're not going to use, though, so that everyone gets their shot. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and I'm going to do it again. So that's the method. Oh, look at that, March 16th. That's much better. Let's see. Did we get it? We didn't. Somebody else grabbed it first, but maybe I really like March 16th, and I can hang out. I believe that's how it works for this, and if anyone is going to correct me, I'll do a little voiceover here to correct it. I'm always learning things from my fellow volunteers, but anyone can do this, and I have shown this method to people all over the state of New York from all walks of life, and they're surprised to see it. It'd be nice if there was a waiting room that told you you're going for cancellations, but as you can see, they do pop up. And you can do better and better with a little persistence. So, that's the New York State website. Next, we're going to go to the New York City Health website. This is vax4nyc.nyc.gov. This is the first site you will see. And here you have a series of options. This is where you can go also to cancel appointments, to reschedule an appointment, and if you're working with someone who's somehow got a problem, I guess there's a schedule second dose. Generally speaking, people's second doses are scheduled when they get their first at the site where they get it. But if we get an appointment that's only okay and we want to improve it, we can come here to reschedule. But let's start with just getting an appointment to begin with. We're going to start with schedule first dose. All right, now our sample patient for this is Vaccine Hunter. Right? So she is over 65. She is also a grocer who is qualified because of her job as well. So she could go even if she were under the age of 65. So for vaccine, we're going to select she is 65, and she's also a grocery worker. This website will let you pick more than one. You do not need more than one, but I'm doing that just for the sake of demonstration. Here is also if she were a person not otherwise qualified but had a health problem. If she were young, and had a health problem, she could select person with a health problem here. So this is the first page. I'm going to say, you know, you're saying, yes, this is true information, and of course you're only saying things that are true, so you hit next. Now, this is where I put in her name. I use this note to, actually I can put in the whole name at once, but by habit now, I'm just taking them one at a time. So Vaccine Hunter, I'll just type it. Vaccine Hunter, and this is today's date. She's certifying that this is in fact true, and I'm authorized to act on her behalf. So now I do this. I am not a robot. And in the course of my volunteering to help people get their appointments, I have had every picture of every bridge. Did I get them all? Let's find out. I did. Okay, good. Now I hit next. Oh, I must have missed something. Oh, I forgot to say no. Vaccine has not had allergic reactions. Okay, next. Now, it just so happens that at this moment, at 6:00 p.m. on Thursday, I have lots of options for vaccine here, so I'm not going to be able to show you the trick yet. Well, actually, I can. So I'm going to take her zip code. You see the zip code here up at the top? And did you see how it flashed when I put in a zip code? Entering the zip code is what gives you so I'm using my keyboard to type in, I'm deleting, and I'm typing that last digit of her zip code. Do you see how it changes each time? We had some more in the beginning. People are booking these appointments. I'm going to select one so you can see what happens when you do have one. You click the time and hit next. When you get to this screen, just like on the New York State site, once you have something you can type into, and we're going to put in, vaccine, I screwed that up, Hunter. You're going to put in vaccine and then put in her name here, date of birth, fill in the form, with the information that I've got over here on this little note, and book her an appointment. In fact, why don't we do that? See, and you can see that you have time because I'm sitting here and yakking. Vaccine, Hunter. You go through it. I don't want to make this an overlong video, so I'm not going to go through this and book for her, but when you do go through, you follow the prompts and you book, you'll get a code at the end. It's a series of letters and numbers on a confirmation page, and you need that code to reschedule on her behalf. You can have this sent to your email address so that you can assist her if she needs help with booking, or you can have it sent to her email number and save a PDF or print out or take a screenshot of the booking number so that you can help her if she wants to reschedule, or if you want to reschedule on her behalf. Say you liked that appointment only kinda sorta. I don't know if it's going to let me go back from here. No, it starts me back at the beginning. The advantage to all of these tricks, and I should have said this to you in regard to the state site, if you hit refresh up here at the top, it goes back all the way to the beginning. And you have to enter in all the information all over again. By using the methods that I'm talking about here, you don't have to do that. So here, I'm back at the beginning. She is a grocery worker and over the age of 65, yes. If you're using her zip code as the means of refreshing, you do not have to fill this out every time. So if you just hit refresh at the top, you don't get as many opportunities in the same amount of time that some joker like me who's using this method is getting multiple shots all at once. So here's bicycles. I'm still not a robot. I'm hitting next. See, this moment I've chosen to record my screen happens to be when a lot of things are being released, and I wanted to show you the screen when there's nothing on it and then when they appear, but I guess I'm too lucky today. We'll come back here, but as you can see, it flashes whenever I enter the final number. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Okay. So that is how you refresh. You delete the last number and hit that. So if we had no appointments happening right now, which is quite frequently what happens, is no appointments, just this top area, like maybe the first box's amount of space here, would have no appointments available in this orange color. It would say no appointments available. And you would just sit here until one popped up. And if you click on it, on that, then you scroll down and hit next. See, and this might happen. It happens frequently. That one got grabbed by somebody else ever so slightly faster than me, but this one, might not. This one might. Let's see, So that's how you'll see it. But you just keep going until, when there's this many here, if you don't pick the first one, you pick the third one maybe. I'm sitting here yakking. I had enough time to get that one because there were a lot of them. If they're only popping up one at a time, it's a game of just trying to act as quick as you can. And again, this is very easy to reschedule because you're going to get a code, letters and numbers, to book, to change. And you can go right back in and do the same process over again with the same booking without losing the original. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and show you one more time to bring it back full circle to this reschedule appointment. This reschedule appointment is where you would go once you have that code that I mentioned that you'll get at the end of the booking and put it in here. You still have to use the same name, date of birth, etc., which we have here for her. And then when you put in the booking number and hit submit, it takes you back to that same search where you'll put in the zip code, change the last number to refresh. Don't use the refresh button up here because that is going to send you all the way back and delete all of your information. So you want to use that zip code to refresh. You can use your own zip code, but it does seem to rank the locations from nearest to farthest if you use the patient's zip code as opposed to your own. Okay, so then moving on to the last of the 3 websites I'm going to show you today. The final one is COVID-19-NYC healthandhospitals.org. I don't think we necessarily, let's see what happens. Does it just go if you put that much in? What happens? No, we need the rest of that. Okay, it's /COVID vax eligibility, and all of these links we'll make sure that you have. I'll put them down below on the YouTube. So this one does function differently in incognito versus in regular, and I want to show you regular first because most people aren't just hanging out in incognito. I'm gonna fill it out in both though first. Okay, so you'll read this. I am one of the following. You look up through the whole thing, and I'm going a little fast. If you need to pause for a second, if you're doing this along with me, please do. But for this, she is 65. She's over at the age of 65, and she also is a grocer. She's a public-facing grocery store worker. So I'm going to hit yes. I am one of the following. Yes. Do you live or work in New York State? Yes. Do you live or work in New York City? Because these are the city sites. The first one we did, of course, is good for the whole state. These last couple are for New York City in specific. She does not happen to live in Queens. There are some Queens sites as well, but she does not particularly live in, she lives at the Empire State Building, so she does not live in Queens. She is over the age of 18. She did not get her flu shot or any other vaccine in the last 14 days. She thankfully is not currently ill, or currently acutely ill. She has not received in the last 90 days these treatments. She does not have a history of allergic reaction. And, all of these questions. She's not currently pregnant or breastfeeding. If the answers to any of these questions were yes, some of them might cause a problem with the booking. Others of them would just prompt a bit of advice to come up, like, I understand I should speak with my doctor prior to vaccination or things like that. Just answer those questions as appropriate for the patient you're trying to help. So I want you to see some of these different drop downs. Here we have, if you're going for someone who's 65 and older, as our vaccine is, it just asks you for the date of birth, and then I would go over here to my note, copy, paste that, and then I can proceed. If she were under the age of 65, but in her particular case we chose that she is a grocer. Let me just read, where is it? Public-facing grocery store workers. So you can see there's many other categories: teachers, restaurant employees, hotel workers in a public-facing role, drivers with the TLC, lots of different qualifying jobs. So here, we'd say if she were going in as a person under 65 but a grocer, I'm going to just pretend that's the name of her workplace. Hit grocer. And the phone number for her grocer. So then you can proceed. So those are the various ways. I'm going to keep it simple for us and say she is 65 years of age. This is her date of birth. And I'm going to enter copy. Copying and pasting. And you obviously can just type, but I do find that it's a little faster, and I didn't want to bore you with watching me awkwardly type. So I'm going to check this, and then I'm going to do the I am not a robot. And we're going to pick all the bicycles and hit verify. Oh, I must have missed one. Help me out. Okay, verify? Okay, good. Now, this is the incognito window, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two. In the incognito window, I get view available times as an orange bar. Various browsers do this differently. I believe I mentioned earlier, I'm on a Macintosh. It may look a little different on your PC, but if you have an orange bar, you hit this, and look at this. We have an appointment available to us if we want to go to the Bronx, and we could click on that and book. If we are looking for a vaccine and we want to keep her a little closer to home in the Empire State Building. I'm going to click refresh. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have been picky, maybe I should, but I did not get those appointments. Now it says sorry. Now I'm using, similar to what I used on the New York City site, Command and R on my Mac, which would be Control and R on a PC to refresh this. There are ways to make this happen in more technological ways, but I'm teaching you the very basics of this, and certainly glad to connect you with more tips and tricks on how to automate this or whatever. But so I'm just using my left hand to hit Command and R, and I have my right hand on the mouse and ready to act if I see them. Now we saw in the beginning those green bubbles, the ones that I didn't click on for vaccine. I'm going to show you now how this would act if we were not in incognito mode. Let me see if I can, how suave am I? Oh, look at that. This one, I already have it filled out, same as before, just so I don't have to take you through this for time purposes. I preloaded this. This is the non-incognito. This is just a regular browser window. I'm using Chrome in this one. So I'm going to hit click to schedule. And that box with a little beating heart that says it's checking their system is here. And so this, it's all kind of in, it's not a pop out the same way. The way to refresh this, if I just click refresh up here, I'm going to lose all this. And it's going to make me fill in all this again. And while I'm doing that, some other joker who knows the tricks that I'm teaching you today is getting lots and lots and lots of tries while I'm refilling that out. This is the way to refresh it in the regular browser, is to check and uncheck next to your name, next to vaccine's name. So that's the refresh not in incognito mode. Try them both, see which one works for you. If you're booking lots of people, incognito mode seems really to be a better option. Doesn't pick up as much junk and get bogged down as quickly, but this is just fine. So I'm going to set this one aside, show you, go back and do it for another couple of clicks. If this window got stale, if I went off and did something else for a while and I needed to refresh it again, I still can use that check and uncheck the box over here. But we're looking for a spot for vaccine. So what you're seeing here is occasionally there are big groups of appointments released for various sites all at once, but other times you're just watching to see when does a cancellation appear. And it looks just like those ones we saw earlier with little green boxes. You click on them. You are under time pressure to click on them and hit next, and then to do the I am not a robot, choose all of the crosswalks, choose all of the motorcycles, choose all of the taxis, that sort of thing. Once you get, just like in the other ones, to the fields where you can type in someone's name, you no longer are under a time crunch. And I'd love to get one for you while we're sitting here. Something to know about this website, the Health and Hospitals one, you can see, again, this is the New York City Health and Hospitals system. This particular site tends to release appointments between midnight and 1, but closer to midnight, and then again another bunch at 1 most nights overnight. But appointments, particularly for this site and for this one back here, the New York City Health, this is the one again where you're using your zip code to refresh it. And I need to get my window back for that hides behind. There's a lot of same-day cancellations, and the same is really true like for the Javits Center or others on this state site back here. There are, see, I almost accidentally clicked refresh on that and then I'd lose all that. I want to stay with this little window right here. And again, there are ways to make this in a larger window with an auto refresh and all sorts of different tricks, but this is something that even I've taught older folks to do this by phone and walked them through with it, and then they felt comfortable that they could book for themselves and their spouse and maybe their own parents. It takes time, it takes persistence, but it really does work. So I think that was everything. Oh, I'm not going to get way into other tips, but I do think that it is helpful. This is TurboVax, which you may have seen in the news and on Twitter. A gentleman who very kindly set up a bot that reports on when appointments have been releasing. It's very helpful, but it's also showing you something that other people are already seeing as well. It's more effective when you're booking for someone to be here yourself. Here you go. Let's see if we can get this. Oh, I was a little slow. I didn't click it real quick. Oh, look at that. I'm continuing as a guest. Now I have several minutes. It's not an unlimited period of time. I think it's maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Other more advanced bookers know the answers to these things, but I have time now and I can fill in vaccines information. And I can send it to my own email, or I could send it to hers depending on her comfort level. If I'm working overnight and she's, having some rest, and I may send this all to my own email address, sort out with her in the morning what she wants, as long as I make absolutely certain that I cancel anything she's not going to use so that other people can get it. And I'm not going to book this because we're in real time and other people are trying to get their shots, and vaccine is an entirely invented human being. But this TurboVax is very good while you're doing this, because when this one says available a few seconds ago, this is that New York City vaccine hub. When there's activity at one area of this website, there's activity coming in others. So she is eligible at 65 and up. I'm just going to put in the one. That's all I really need. I know that she's BCINE Hunter. I do think it's quicker for me to cut and paste. I'm not great at computers. I certify I'm not a robot, and hit stairs. So I used TurboVax to tell me that there was some action happening at this website, which means there's probably more coming. And look at this. I'm right. There's still a lot of movement here. And it is ranked for each date based on what zip code I... Sort of vaguely. It's not perfect as to the location, but you can see. So there's this is tomorrow. This is the day after. So they're in sections by date. And when you have lots like this, you can browse some. I encourage you not to try for the first appointment. The first appointment is probably going to be gone. Ooh, it's thinking. I don't know. Oh, wow, I got it. It is getting easier. There are more appointments coming up. I'm going to hit previous. It's going to take me back. If you click so fast you don't even know what date you're picking, just keep going, because you can cancel that appointment if it's something you didn't want. Normally, most times of the day, you just are going to see one. But with that assist from TurboVax, which was here somewhere, yes, I was kind of able to get a sense of that there was movement happening over there. They tend to put out more than one thing. Vaccine list is also a helpful resource. Again, you've probably seen these in the news, but they tell you where to go. I don't want to make this too long a video, so those are the 3 sites that can be used to book for New York City most easily. There may be some others that are good for your particular neighborhood. There's the Armory at 168th Street that has its own booking system for Manhattan. There's a whole series of different Somos that runs the ones up, particularly, I believe, the Yankee Stadium. Again, there are many people who know this much better than me, but what I'm showing you, you can use to book for your family, and you can also teach members of your family and your coworkers and your friends how to do this. The trick is to know for each of these sites, what do I need to do to refresh quickly without having to repeat all of the information every single time, and to see cancellations as they come, which normally we would see nothing available and then they'd be popping up. We just happened to catch this as it was releasing. So, they are getting more plentiful. I'm refreshing. This one I did take back to the beginning. I don't really remember why I did that. So anyway, that's the way you book on these websites. Thank you very much. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, I'm certainly available, and there are many other people out there who have tips even better than this, but hopefully this is enough to get you started. Thanks a lot. Good luck and be well, and wishing you and your families good health.